You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. And our next guests in the studio, well, they're going to be Ian, the SBC Seafront officer, and also James. He's the RNLI Lifeguard manager for Swale and Thanet. As always, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for inviting us back for this pre-season interview.
And although it's not to this interview, I just want to congratulate you on doing the London Marathon as well. You were just telling me about that. So.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I'm just about recovered.
So if we move on to our first question, what have you been up to with the seafront over the winter months?
Yeah, had a busy time again. Just gradually completing my objectives, really. What you find working for a local authority, nothing ever gets done quickly, and when you're on the front line, it's can be very frustrating, but we're getting there. First case is the Laysdown shelter, which has now been demolished, which was one of my objectives to get demolished because it was just not fit for purpose, and especially we have the RNLI bring their own unit in now, it just was not fit for purpose, so that's gone, which I'm very happy about. Managed to get the stairwell by my office at Sheerness Pool filled in, which was another area for antisocial behaviour, so that's another one of my objectives finished. And I'm very pleased to say the RNLI Lifeguards are going to enter their 4th year of service for us, which James will talk about in a bit. Over the winter I've also attended quite a bit of training involving the Beachmaster training and the oil pollution training given by the MCA. And I've attended various different meetings, for example the Kent Resilience Forum pollution group, which meet a couple of times a year. And I was also pleased to represent Swale Borough Council last month at the Houses of Parliament, which I've never been to before, for a Keep Britain Tidy event, because we promote the charity and we also do a lot of voluntary litter picks with them. Also, on a smaller scale, we've taken delivery of 2 new work trucks, which obviously takes a lot of time and paperwork. So yeah, we've been ticking on quite nicely.
Also, you could tell us what your plans and events are for the coming season.
Yeah, certainly. Well, we've just had the last Pool Trickle Island run, unfortunately, but we're really hopeful someone else can step into the breach and keep it going, because it is one of the flagship events on the island, and it's one which, like, everyone knows on the island, so hopefully that can be kept going in some format. The RNLI Lifeguards are due to start this weekend, and James will tell you a little bit more about that. I've started on a 2-year to 3-year replacement at the Metal Bins along Sheerness Seafront, which sounds very boring, but with a limited budget I do have to plan for them kind of maintenance works in advance and allocate my budget accordingly. We're also looking to assist the Kent Wildlife Trust with the Go to the Deep project, which is a marine environmental project which they're trying to get off the ground all around the coast, involving having coastal wardens, getting children engaged with their marine environment, so that'd be quite exciting, especially with applying for the Blue Flags, which is an environmental award. We're really looking to do that kind of thing more. The engineering department for SBC has also secured a grant to help patch up some of the Minster Leys prom, which if you walk along the to the cliffs, that end of Minster Leys, there's cracks appearing in the promenade due to the coastal erosion, which is a big problem on the island, but they're looking to patch them up sometime this year. And Sweet Hut up the other end of Minster Leys has a Punch and Judy show and a Songs on the Seafront planned for June. On the 3rd of July, the RNLI has an open day planned at the All-Tide Landing in Queenborough. And on the 31st of July, we're, for our 2nd year, doing the Classic Car Show along the Leeds, which was really successful last year. And also in September will be the annual Sheerness Lifeboat Run, which has run for a number of years now. What I would like to ask, if anyone is planning to have any kind of event along the seafront, even if it is a free event, because it is council ground, we do need to know about it in some form, and we do need the paperwork, so I will ask you to email events@swale.gov.uk, and I'll give that address again at the end, just so we know what's going on and we can have the relevant paperwork in place.
We're going to be talking to James next, and I know you're going to talk a little bit about recruitment.
That's right, yes. So over the winter, we've been spending a lot of time sort of looking at different recruitment strategies for the island. Last year, we have a team of 6 lifeguards that work on the Isle of Sheppey, and last year we recruited 2 from the island itself. We have one of those lifeguards returning to us this year, which we're sort of very fortunate to have, and we've got another 2 that are doing their course with us in a couple of weeks' time, which will bring our numbers up with locally recruited people.
What have you been up to over the winter period, and what are the plans for the forthcoming season?
So at the end of the season in September, we came back and removed the lifeguard units off the promenades. They were all returned, cleaned out and repaired for this coming season. Following that, we really take a look at all the paperwork and the daily logs that we collect on the beaches, and look at the incidents that we attended around the island, and try and identify any trends that have come up within those incidents, and see if there's any further steps we can take to try and reduce anything similar happening this year. Around the southeast last year, lifeguards dealt with 1,142 different incidents, which is still a huge amount. So we look at the incidents that we dealt with, try and identify the trends and try and put some things in place to prevent those from happening again. We still find that around the UK, around 170 people drown on our coastlines each year. The RNLI has put a really bold statement together to say that we're committed to halving that drowning by the year 2024. So in line with that, we've formulated what's called the RISE model, where the RNLI will aim to reduce those coastal drownings by still delivering our world-class rescue service, influencing beach owners and councils around sort of signage and public rescue equipment. Also provide supervision, whether it be through lifeguards or other voluntary patrols, and our education programs, which I'll come on to again in a bit. So after putting those together, then we draw up new local operating procedures for our beaches and for our lifeguards to follow, and start our recruitment campaigns. The lifeguards have just finished most of their induction training for this year, so they've all been through their 3-day casualty care training, working with other emergency services such as South East Coast Ambulance Service and the Coast Guard, and been through their full induction, so they are now ready to start patrolling again on our beaches. So it's all very, very exciting time for us now, the last week before we actually get our patrols back onto the sand.
So, Ian, have you applied for the blue flag this year?
Yes, this time, for the first time ever, for all 3 bathing beaches, Sheerness, Laysdown and Minster. Now, Sheerness has held the blue flag for the previous few years, and Laysdown has also been a previous blue flag holder, but this will be the first time, as far as I'm aware, that we've applied for Minster Leys as a blue flag beach. This has been enabled because all 3 bathing waters have been classified as excellent, which is in itself an achievement under the new stringent European guidelines. So we're really, really pleased about that, especially when people say, oh, the water quality is not very good around the island. In fact, it is actually. So we're really happy about that. The national announcements on the Blue Flags and Seaside Awards are going to be announced on Thursday across the country, and so we're keeping everything crossed that we get all 3 beaches named as Blue Flag beaches as well as Seaside Award beaches, and they go hand in hand, and that would be really fantastic achievement, not just for the tourism implications, so we can say we've got Blue Flag beaches on the island, but also for recognition for the hard work my small team does in keeping the beaches clean.
I think you're going to give us some advice on beach users first, or do you have any advice?
Yeah, from a council perspective, obviously there's always ongoing issues, and it's not just locally, it's nationally. Probably the biggest at the moment is fly tipping, and that's happening everywhere. It's not just on the beaches. It's alleyways. It's everywhere, and it just seems to be a general thing throughout Britain at the moment. And I would ask you, if you see any aspects of fly tipping, please do report it. The council have a website and an online form if you don't want to ring the council, so please do report it. We also have at the moment fishermen parking their cars along the prom, which is all very nice until we want to get past or one of the emergency services want to get past. So I would ask that people keep all their vehicles off the prom, and that includes vehicles which have blue badges, which are still not allowed on the promenades, I'm afraid. So it is just really Swale Council vehicles and their contractors, which does include the RNLI, the Environment Agency and their contractors, the emergency services, and please to keep the promenades free from all vehicles. Also, if you do come across any antisocial behaviour as it's happening, please do report it to the police. If it's not reported, they don't know it's happening, dial 101 and please report it. Please use the bins. That's one of the main things I've been doing since I took the job, is getting more and more bins. Please use the bins or take the rubbish home with you. And yeah, generally listen to lifeguard service. Listen to lifeguards. They're there for a reason. Your safety is the number one reason, and please do listen to their advice and what they say to you.
So, James, what are your top beach and sea safety tips for beach users right here on Sheppey?
So specifically looking at coastal environments, if you're going out to enjoy the wonderful coastline we've got around the island, please always check the weather and the tide times. We so often see people getting caught out with a quickly rising tide that they've not accounted for. Read the signs and be aware of local hazards. Again, they're put out there to provide everyone with the information they need to go around the coast. Carry a means of calling for help, and you can't always rely on your mobile phone with some of the mobile signal dropping out now and then. And if you see anyone in danger, dial 999 or 111, 112 and ask for the Coast Guard. If you're going specifically to the beach, then we stress our SAFE message. The S standing for spot the dangers before you go down onto the beach. A, always go with a friend or an adult, or have someone know where you are and when you're due to be back. F, find and follow safety signs and flags, so specifically the red and yellow flags on lifeguarded beaches. And E, in case of emergency, if you're in the water, put your hand up and shout, or ring 999 and ask for the Coast Guard.
You're next sort of going to be talking all about becoming a lifeguard, I think, and that one's for James, is that right?
That's right. So yeah, just looking at anyone out there that might be interested in actually becoming a lifeguard on the Isle of Sheppey, just about our requirements. We've got various courses coming up with paid and voluntary roles still available for this summer. So all of our lifeguards, we've declared that we reach any casualty up to 300 metres from shore within the red and yellow flags within 3.5 minutes. So all of our fitness tests and requirements are based around that minimum standard that we declare. So to start with, the lifeguards will come to us. We'll go to the swimming pool and conduct a 400-metre swim test. So that's 16 lengths of the standard swimming pool in 7.5 minutes or less. We'd look to make sure that the first 200 metres of that is done in 3.5 minutes or less. Following that, we do a complete length underwater, so 25 metres underwater, touch the end, and then do a front crawl sprint back in less than 50 seconds. And our final element of fitness is a 200-metre beach sprint in 40 seconds or less. If you can match those criteria, then we offer a ILS, so an International Life-Saving Federation recognised qualification, which is a week-long course, your Beach Lifeguard Award, which can also be used anywhere around the world within the ILF services. And then we'll go into a week of RNLI induction, where lifeguards will go through their first aid and incident management modules. So if anyone feels out there that they'd like to give that a go and is keen to pursue a lifeguarding job for the summer, then I'd urge you to log on to Facebook and look at RNLI Lifeguards South East, or you can email myself and find my contact details on the BRFM blog.
So I think we're going to talk to Ian. I was hoping you were going to go over some useful contact details for the seafront.
Yeah, sure. My official email address, if anyone would like to get in contact, is seafront@swale.gov.uk. And that email address I mentioned earlier for if you're going to look into have any kind of event along council grounds will be events@swale.gov.uk. I also have my own Facebook page, Sheppey Beach Users Forum. I must stress that's not a council endorsed page, that's really just a page run by me to get messages out there, and feel free to put pictures of the seafront. I think Martin probably mentioned earlier about sending pictures of our seafronts into the council as well. We just want to get the beaches promoted, and hopefully if we get the blue flags that can get behind us and we can really make a big thing of having our natural resource, and we're lucky to live next to beaches. I've also on Twitter now, again that's not an official council endorsed page, it's my own page, so please look me up on that. I'd also like to mention, some of you probably know I'm a volunteer for Prostate Cancer UK, and as Dan mentioned at the start, I recently did London Marathon. My fundraising pages are still open, so if you'd still like to donate to my London Marathon effort, please find me on Facebook or go to justgiving.com/Ian-Arnell8 and please donate if you can. Also, in my role as a Prostate Cancer UK volunteer, I'd like to promote the 28th annual car show, which is quite a big thing on the island, and that's going to be up Stevedores this year, and all the profits raised for that car show this year are going to go to Prostate Cancer UK, so please do pay that a visit on the 5th of June, Sunday the 5th of June, and I'll be there with my prostate cancer store, so please do come and have a chat.
Well, Ian and James, once again I'd like to thank you very much for coming along.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Probably see you at the end of the season.
Yep.